But as we said, they're very intelligent, so we do teach them lots of things to look after them. But also, all these behaviours we're showing you now also help them to keep them busy. So he can give us a spin as well, as you can see. So all of these kind of behaviours just keep the brain ticking. Being very intelligent, they need to be worked. Because if they get bored, give us a wave. They will just fly. So they need a lot of work. We also give them lots of enrichment, like a lot of browse. They love chewing things with those beaks, so we give them a lot of willow, lots of fruit trees, back, things like that, and they like destroying them with their foot. But I think we've done a fantastic job, guys. We're going to finish off with a big goodbye and a bow. If you think you've done a good job, massive round of applause, and then Louise is going to be coming out with our last bird, okay? Fantastic.
Right, so we're moving back to the McCall family. Now, I promise this is a different one to the one we brought out earlier. This is Boomer. But Boomer is another one of our blue and gold macaws. And we're going to be joined very, very shortly by his best friend, Will. Do you not like this perch today? No, I don't like the perch. Are you sure? No? Okay. How about we try this perch over here? Now, parrots can be quite fussy little birds. Now, we're going to be joined very, very shortly by his best friend, Merlin. Now, Merlin is another one of our macaws, but he's a military macaw, so also found out in South America. So far you've seen macaws and you've seen cockatoos. They're all part of the parrot family, but they all come in different shapes and sizes. There are over 360 different species of parrots, and they do all look very different to each other. But there is one thing that all of our parrots have in common with each other, and that is feathers. They are all covered in feathers. You just want to sit on my hand today? Is that what you're doing? You're being a very needy parrot. Now they're all covered in feathers, but of course the feathers are there for a few different things. It's not just about looking pretty, although they do have very bright colourful feathers. They are there for quite a few different jobs. Now, flying is one of the most obvious ones. These guys are going to use their feathers to help them fly around. Although the idea is, Boomer, that you flap them when you're in the air. That's what flying is, not just sat there on the perch. So we're just been joined by Merlin as well. So flying is an extremely important pastime for our lovely parrots. So they will use these big long tail feathers of theirs to act a bit like a rudder. So you can see Boomer here using his tail feathers to help steer him through the air. And when they come into land, what they'll do is they'll fan out those tail feathers and they'll point them in a downwards direction and hopefully make a nice, smooth and controlled landing, a bit like Merlin did just then. That's the idea anyway. So that's what they're going to be using those feathers for. But they will also use their feathers to communicate with each other. Now we can tell a grumpy parrot from a happy parrot depending on the positioning of those feathers. Now you saw Peppy and Zoe, they have that crest of feathers on the top of their head. When they're excited or alarmed, that crest will stand up. But all of our parrots are going to use, I don't want you, it's a bit chaotic to start with, isn't it? There we go, over to that, lovely. Now Boomer, you're with me, aren't you? I think you've gone on strike this afternoon, though, haven't you? Anyway, what was I saying? Yes, so feathers, they can communicate with them. So we can tell a grumpy parrot from a happy parrot, depending on the positioning of those feathers. And they'll also use their feathers to keep them waterproof, to keep them warm, nice and insulated. So it's really important that their feathers stay in good condition. So what all of our birds will do every single year is they will grow a brand new set of feathers. They will molt the old feathers. So all of those feathers underneath there, well, they will grow new ones every single year. Now they won't do it all at the same time, so I'm sure you can imagine trying to fly when you've got no feathers is pretty tricky. So what they'll do is they'll molt them out one at a time in a symmetrical pattern, so that way they can always carry on flying, but they're also making sure their feathers are nice and healthy. But of course they don't spend all of their time flying around, particularly not Boomer this afternoon. They also spend quite a lot of their time up in the trees as well. They've got a few little handy tools to help them out for life in the branches. Now parrots have specially designed feet. Their feet are known as zygodactyl. Now that's basically a fancy way of saying that they've got 4 toes. They've got 2 toes that point forward and they've got 2 toes that point backwards. But this means they've got really good grip for climbing around. So you can imagine them out in the wild, climbing along in the trees and the branches, getting to all those hard to reach bits of fruit. And it's always the way that the nicest, juiciest bit of fruit is at the bottom of a hard to reach branch. So they can climb straight head first down as well, using those zygodactyl feet, which comes in really handy because unfortunately parrots do have a few predators to worry about. So by being able to climb in and amongst the trees, they can hopefully stay hidden while they carry on feeding. Now they'll also use that rather impressive a nice tasty seed inside. Now I would love to say that we have to train this behaviour, but to be honest our parrots are pretty greedy and also very intelligent as well, so they've figured it out for themselves. Although Boomer is giving you a rather rude view at the moment, turning his back on the audience. Now their beak as well is a perfectly designed nutcracker, so they can crack into all the tough nuts and seeds that they need to, and it's a perfectly designed weapon as well. There's a lot of power in a parrot's beak. These macaws have about 6 times the crushing power in their beak that we do, which is about the equivalent of a German Shepherd. So you definitely don't want to get your fingers in the way of an angry parrot beak, because you will certainly know about it. But they'll also use it for more delicate things, like breeding their feathers, also nest building as well, so it's not all big and scary. Now hopefully Merlin this afternoon as well is going to use his beak to some good use, because Dan's already mentioned a few of the problems that parrots face out in the wild. So the state of their environment is a really big problem, also the illegal pet trade as well, and habitat loss and deforestation. So this year at Woburn we are collecting to raise money for the World Parrot Trust, which is a really good charity that's raising money to help rehabilitate parrots that have been taken out of the wild and hopefully put them back there. So Merlin's been given some pocket money, so hopefully he's going to donate to the World Parrot Trust, which he's done very nice. Thank you very much, Merlin. So if you guys also have a little bit of spare change and pocket money that you would like to donate, then it would be very much appreciated. Now that does unfortunately bring us to the end of our rather chaotic parrot demonstration today. So thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed meeting our birds this afternoon. Our next demonstration today is the elephants. The elephants are going to be out at 1:30. That's up in the elephant meadow, which is that way across the car park. But for myself and Dan and our lovely birds, thank you very much for listening and enjoy the rest of your day at Woburn.
Băi, normal.